In this video, we're going to examine some of the causes of poor time management and to perhaps help you get an understanding of how they may be affecting your current productivity. Now, let's talk about poor time management, because does the online entrepreneur ever think that he has poor time management? Or does he automatically think that he's managing his time efficiently and effectively simply because he's a business owner? Now, either way, he has to carefully guard against wasting time or not maximizing the full use of the flexible time that the work at home entrepreneur enjoys. Without an assertive effort, he can be doomed for incompleteness or even business failure. Oftentimes, procrastination is the main culprit of poor time management, but it's often not taken seriously because of the perceived creativity in waiting. In other words, online entrepreneurs often have trepidation about moving too quickly on business projects or making decisions too quickly. As noble as this may sound, it can often have the reverse effect and cause the work from home individual to move either too slow, move too fast, or to simply do nothing at all. And effective time management can help. Failing to plan in any home business is not unlike failing to plan in any other type of business. There must be a business model developed, a marketing strategy implemented, and a plan of action to achieve goals for the business. All this ties into the ability to plan, effectively manage time and resources, and to find out what works best for the business. Planning every day may seem like a lot of work to do, but in actual reality, once it becomes a habit, it becomes second nature. You know, studies have shown that it takes an average of 21 times for something to become a habit. So, once something does become a habit, it's much easier to maintain than if it's new or starting just from the beginning. Home entrepreneurs have complete flexibility and convenience in their job. There's no one standing over them, dictating their day, telling them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and so on. With all of this freedom, an undisciplined person will not know how to effectively manage their time or when to say no to certain projects or new business. For many entrepreneurs, they put off work obligations or duties for various reasons. And doing this can cause unbelievable stress for the entrepreneur and can cause them to manage their work in crisis mode. Now, working in this way can also create other problems that can become difficult to solve or manage. There are mistakes made, incomplete projects, missed goals, poor work quality, and even poor business results. What are some of the major reasons why home entrepreneurs procrastinate? Why is it that they put off making decisions, starting new projects, pursuing new business, or even finishing big projects that have an impact on more business for them? Let's look at some of the reasons why. And the first one is that the entrepreneur has poor work habits. The work-at-home entrepreneur who has poor work habits is usually slow at starting everything. They're habitual procrastinators and they take very long periods of time to complete projects or get anything done. Now, what can result from this type of online business activity? Well, lots of things really. First of all, it's frustration, and that can lead to loss of business and, of course, loss of sales. If they miss a deadline or they fail to communicate with their customers or clients, that can result in a loss of business and a negative point on their online reputation. And of course, that's not good for any aspiring online and web entrepreneur. And quite often they also procrastinate on everything else in their lives, including personal areas, and are always trying to catch up, and this causes high stress levels and low production levels. And quite often the online entrepreneur who has poor work habits is also under the impression that they perform better under pressure, and this simply isn't so. They believe that they can do their best work if they're forced to work faster because they think it sparks their creativity. And you see, that's not true at all. All this does is simply place them further behind in their work, and it causes more stress. Now, another reason is they have continual feelings of being overwhelmed. The entrepreneur who's challenged in the area of effective time management often feels that they never have anything accomplished. And quite often they don't. They don't do anything at all in response to either being proactive in their work or in finishing tasks. And this can lead to lots of things. It can lead to anxiety and also the propensity to make big, expensive mistakes in their work. And it's commonly known that when you're tired or overworked, the capacity and possibility of making mistakes increases exponentially. Of course, this aids you even more feelings of being overwhelmed and underaccomplished. And there's also a feeling of uselessness in business projects with entrepreneurs who procrastinate. They feel like it may be easier to do nothing at all because of the sheer size of what the task is. This again is cyclic and can cause a spiral effect in the business because one thing doesn't get done, it causes another thing not to get done, and the process can continue and cause even more problems. And another reason is that they feel they have to be perfect. And this is quite possibly one of the most common but most detrimental personality traits that a work from home entrepreneur has. To a fault, they feel that they have got to be perfect. They've got to avoid all mistakes at all costs, get things right the first time, and be able to completely and pointedly satisfy the customer's every whim and need. And not only is this unrealistic to think this way, but it's also damaging and unfair for the entrepreneur to expect it of himself. It's just not possible. And there's no way that they can be perfect, and they place undue stress on themselves by doing so. What they want to do is they want to finish projects, meet deadlines, accomplish goals, and do them all at record speed. But what holds them back is often simply getting started. They may view their business projects as burdensome and shun them as unimportant. And this often makes them feel better because they're able to convince themselves that if they're not important, then it may be just as unimportant to their clients or customers. And the entrepreneur will usually put off completion until the project meets their standards for perfection. And although this perception is only appreciated by the entrepreneur, these standards are very often not recognized at all by their clients. And this, of course, reinforces the fact that it's a time waster and they've worked fruitlessly towards an unnecessary end. And finally, it could be that the entrepreneur is bored. Now, do work at home entrepreneurs really get bored? Yes, they do, but not in the sense where boredom is often used. They get bored with no creativity or change to their work. And although they may perhaps love what they do, they find doing the same thing day after day becomes really monotonous and non-challenging for them. So boredom sets in and they lose interest in the projects that they're working on. Many times, a work at home person would simply rather be doing something else besides working. Now, does that mean they're lazy? Well, no, it doesn't. They often just don't know where to start or how to manage their business projects or how to jumpstart something in their business to pique their interests. And sometimes they'd rather do something else. They may look for other creative outlets that are not business related, like engaging on social networking sites or community forums instead of actually working. And when this happens, mundane tasks like paperwork or online tasks can take precedence over actually doing some work that's going to actually bring in some money and pay the bills and so on. And the entrepreneur will simply keep putting tasks off, wishing they would either magically get shorter or just simply go away. And their stress level can increase knowing that this is bound not to happen, and that can make their jobs harder to accomplish and their goals harder to realize. So, what are the results of these traps, and how do you practice effective time management? Here are a few things to keep in mind that can dramatically affect your productivity rate when it comes to your business. And the first one is starting your day with no action plan. If you start your day with no action plan, you're doomed from the beginning. You start off late and you feel overwhelmed from the start. You then spend your day in a defensive crisis mode. You may also find yourself hurriedly and haphazardly responding to other people's problems and events and place them above your own issues. And there are 7 key areas in our lives where we must practice balance in order to feel and enjoy success. And the first area is your health, and that's how your body feels and reacts to outside stimuli. Then there's your family, quality time and responsibilities with other family members. And there's financial burdens and your monetary obligations. There's intellectual, how outside stimuli affects your life. And there's social, how you interact with others, other people around you, and interact with your community where you live. There's professional, and this is the process that you use to advance your career. And finally, there's spiritual, your relationship with God and others. Each of these areas requires our daily time for completeness, although they may not all receive equal time each day. It's not so important to spend significant time in each area, but it is important to spend some time in each area. In the long run, our lives will be balanced and harmonious if we spend sufficient quantity and quality of time in each area. However, if we neglect any one of these areas, we can quickly sabotage our success. For instance, if we don't take care of our health, our family life and social life will suffer. As well, if we're out of balance in our finances, we cannot adequately focus on our professional goals, career aspirations, and other important areas of focus. A cluttered workspace can create a cluttered work mind. Problems ensue when you can't find important business documents or locate information for your clients. And these things can cause havoc. They can wreak chaos and confusion, but they can also lead to a lot of lost revenue and delayed billing. Studies have been conducted proving that a person who works with a cluttered desk space spends about 1 or 2 hours a day looking for things or being distracted by them. And this can add up significantly in hours wasted per week. The culprit of inadequate sleep is to blame for many entrepreneurs not meeting goals or seeing results in their business. Not enough sleep can lead to poorly made decisions or irrational choices as they relate to important business functions. Studies have shown that nearly 75% of online entrepreneurs are sleep deprived and that their businesses are inadvertently affected. Being tired is not good or productive for the work-at-home individual. If the lack of sleep doesn't negatively affect the entrepreneur, the quality of their sleep will. This means that when they do get to sleep, it's usually fitful, restless sleep because of underlying stress and other debilitating factors. Stress-filled days are hazardous to the online entrepreneur and can eventually become damaging. The key is to get adequate rest and proper sleep to experience less stress and become more productive. Taking adequate breaks and taking breaks often enough is a big failure of the online entrepreneur because they're not in a routine or rigid schedule as in a corporate setting. They feel that they shouldn't have to or can't take breaks. They may also feel that doing so is a waste of time. Well, that's just not so. Taking sufficient breaks is critical to daily success. Many times, the online entrepreneur also neglects to take sufficient breaks because they feel that they can produce better results if they just keep carrying on. They feel that if they work right through, that they can get more done and be more productive. But this does not produce more results or even increase work time. As the body's tired, response and creativity is severely hampered, and it can cause the quality of the entrepreneur's work to suffer. We've reached the end of this video, so go ahead and take a break now. And in the next video, we'll cover some strategies that you can implement to help increase your time management efficiency.